A history of anime. Japanese anime has been around for over 100 years. What started from simple beginnings of animations drawn with chalk has grown into a billion-dollar industry that has captivated the world over. Anime has inspired toys and merchandise, clothing and apparel, video games, and even anime conventions, where people dress up in their favorite anime attire, known as cosplay. Now, let's get into the history of anime. 1917, Japan. Anime can be traced back to three men during this time period. Oten Shimokawa, a Japanese artist, Junichi Kouchi, an animator, and Seitaro Kitayama, an animation director. They are considered the fathers of anime. They were credited with working on some of the first anime theatrical releases of that time, like Namakura Gitana or Dull Sword, a story about a samurai that purchased a dull sword, and Imokawa Mukuzo, Genkanban no Maki, or translated in English as The Story of the Concierge Mukuzo Imokawa. Unfortunately, footage of this film was lost to time. Like most animation from this time period, anime were drawn with chalk either on blackboards or reels and were dismantled after they were done. The 1940s. During this era, World War II was going on, and a lot of Japanese anime were propaganda films. One such film was Momotaro no Umiwashi, or translated in English as Momotaro Sea Eagles, was released in 1943, and it was a 37-minute film, which depicted the events of Pearl Harbor from the Japanese folklore perspective. In 1945, the sequel released was called Momotaro Umi no Shinpei, or Momotaro Sacred Sailors. In 1948, the now known Toei Animation Studio was founded by animators Kenzo Masaoka and Senjiro Yamamoto. However, it was originally named Nihon Doga Company. Toei purchased the studio in 1956, and it was renamed Toei Doga Company, doing business as Toei Animation Company. The 1960s. In the 1960s, anime was slowly trickling onto American shores. In 1961, Toei Animation produced and released Magic Boy in American theaters, a story about a boy named Sasuke that goes on a journey to fight the demon Yakusha. Also, Astro Boy was released in America in 1963, and it became the first anime to come to American television. The 1970s. In the 70s, anime saw a rise in different genres, like crime fiction, mecha, sports, and space odyssey. For the crime fiction genre, in 1971, Lupin III Part 1 began airing, and only lasted 23 episodes, then it was canceled. However, it would return in 1977 as Lupin III Part 2, and this run would last 155 episodes. For the sports genre, in 1970, Ashita no Joe was released, which is considered one of the first sports anime to revolve around boxing. As for the rise of the mecha genre, there were anime like Mazinger Z, Tekkaman, and Mobile Suit Gundam, which was released in 1979. Gundam would grow to become one of the most well-known mecha franchises in history. It has spawned several series. Also, the show's animation style was one of the most detailed of that time. The buildings and the backgrounds would look more realistic, as well as the mechas and spacecrafts. Those details stood out the most amongst the genres. In 1972, the studio Madhouse Incorporated was founded. This studio would go on to produce anime such as Trigun, Hunter x Hunter, and Death Note, among many others. The 1980s. By the 1980s, anime began growing mainstream in Japan. Animation quality was getting better, and computer-generated imagery, or CGI, animation was still in its infancy. CGI first appeared in the movie Gogol 13, in this scene with the helicopter and buildings. It was still primitive, however, CGI usage would grow in the coming decade. Also, this era was known as the golden era of anime. More adult-themed anime such as the Fist of the North Star series, which was produced by Toei Animation, Vampire Hunter D, and Devilman. In 1985, Studio Ghibli was founded, and it has created some of the most recognized films in the era, such as Castle in the Sky, My Neighbor Totoro, and Kiki's Delivery Service. In 1986, Toei produced the Dragon Ball animated series, and it was released in Japan. Dragon Ball would grow to become one of the most influential anime of all time, stemming into several series and movies spanning the course of decades. In 1988, Akira was released in Japanese theaters, and in America in 1989. The film grew into a cult classic over the years, becoming one of the most influential cyberpunk anime in history. Akira has a great storyline, excellent graphics and animation, and one of the most kick-ass scenes in animation history, and that's Tetsuo breaking out of the science facility. In 1989, Dragon Ball Z was released in Japan. However, it wouldn't cross over to America for another few years. The 1990s. During the 1990s, the United States saw an anime boom. This was the decade where anime grew into mainstream popularity and was popping up in American music videos, like Michael Jackson's Scream video, which contained scenes from the anime Zillion, and Matthew Sweet's Girlfriend music video used clips from Space Adventure Cobra. In 1995, Dragon Ball, which aired in Japan in '86, now aired on early morning American television. And also in '95, Ghost in the Shell was released, and it had a better mix of 3D animation and traditional animation. In 1996, Dragon Ball Z aired in America. And if you were around like I was during this era, you remember how every young boy was acting like a Dragon Ball Z character by throwing super fast punches at each other, thinking it looked like the show, and pretending to power up to a Super Saiyan level, or trying to do the Kamehameha. In 1997, Studio Ghibli released Princess Mononoke in Japan, and it became an instant success. It became the highest grossing film in Japan that year. It would later release in America in 1999. Also in 1997, Toonami was born on Cartoon Network, which would become the network's action block. It would grow in popularity in the 2000s. Also in '97, the Pokemon franchise was released, causing a worldwide craze for the Pokemon cards, video games, and VHS tapes. The franchise has also spanned several decades, branching off into multiple series. In 1998, Cowboy Bebop was released, and it became a cult classic. Fans of the show enjoy its Western space theme, dialogue, and its awesome soundtracks. The 2000s. In the early 2000s, we saw the rise of anime on Cartoon Network during the Toonami and Adult Swim block. The shows airing around this time were growing massive fan bases. Shows such as Full Metal Alchemist, Naruto, Bleach, and One Piece, which is still ongoing 20 years later. Also, DVD sales in the United States steadily rose throughout the decade, and anime references began popping up in rap and hip-hop. Kanye West's Stronger music video paid homage to Akira, and Lupe Fiasco references Lupin III in his verse in Kanye's Touch the Sky song. And in Linkin Park's Somewhere I Belong music video, they show Gundam sitting on a desk. Also, anime music videos, or AMVs, were popping up all over YouTube, and they were often paired with Linkin Park songs. However, during this period, anime was still seen as part of geek culture in the United States. Let's not forget about the release of the Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi video game series on PlayStation 2. Now you and your friends can finally play as Dragon Ball Z characters and beat the hell out of each other, throwing super fast punches, teleporting, powering up, and using the Kamehameha, until one of you is the top dog of the game amongst your high school friends. You grew prideful, and you went off to college, thinking you were the best player ever, thinking they will never beat you, until one day you get a break from school, and go back to your hometown, and play Dragon Ball Z with your friends again. And they beat you in every match, in every single way. You then realize that while you were off studying the books and partying, they were studying the game and learning every counterattack, every block, and getting better, waiting for you to come home, so they can perform the humiliation ritual on your prideful ass. Oh, I got carried away. I apologize. Back to the video. The 2010s. The era where anime streaming websites began growing more popular. Websites like Crunchyroll, Funimation, and plenty of others. Also, animation budgets were growing, and CGI usage was more prevalent, which led to better animation quality and better action scenes, like One Punch Man, Saitama vs. Genos, or Attack on Titan, Eren vs. the Armored Titan, Sword Art Online, and My Hero Academia. The action scenes from these shows were being shared across social media, and now non-anime watchers were getting into these shows. I remember when friends and coworkers started mentioning these shows because of how much they were hearing about them and seeing them on their social media feeds. Another good thing about this era is that anime were now getting straight to the point when it came to awesome action scenes. We no longer had to wait 5 to 10 episodes for characters to power up. Yes, I'm calling out Dragon Ball Z. Or watching 5 to 10 episodes of the main character training, Naruto, or full season of filler arc. I'm talking to you, Bleach. Or what about the 5 episodes for a character's defining moment? Is cutting her hair to help her team. Yes, I'm talking about Sakura. Nobody asked for that. All the hours of my life wasted just for these scenes makes me want to...
And now, this world shall know pain.
Sorry about that. Now, anime was mainstream. It was popping up in moral rap lyrics, like Lupe's song Mural, referencing the Leaf Village in Naruto. And Lil Uzi Vert also referenced Naruto in his song New Paddock. Also, comedic YouTubers like RDC World, Caleb City, and Long Beach Griffey were making videos about common anime tropes. In 2014, Netflix began streaming the anime called Knights of Sidonia, becoming its first original anime. It's a space sci-fi style anime with mecha suits and spaceships. It also used CGI animation, which is an upgrade from the CGI of previous decades. In 2015, Netflix brought distribution rights for the anime The Seven Deadly Sins, which has grown in popularity over the years and has stemmed into multiple movies and spin-off shows. Another big cultural moment for anime in America was the Area 51 Naruto Run viral video, where a guy runs across the screen during a live recording doing the Naruto Run. The 2020s. As of the 2020s, anime is more popular than ever, especially with the releases of Jujutsu Kaisen and Demon Slayer. This anime has captured the world with its epic storyline, beautiful animation style, and the incredible action sequences. Let's not forget about Chainsaw Man. Yes, Chainsaw Man, which I admit I was skeptical about this one. However, when I finally gave it a chance, it did not disappoint. First of all, the chainsaw arms are pretty badass, and there's lots of action, blood, gore, and violence. And in terms of culture, anime has been referenced in more rap songs, like Lil Uzi Vert's song Sasuke, referencing the character Sasuke from Naruto. Cochise references Tokyo Ghoul in his song and music video called Hatchback. I know there's plenty more rap references to anime, but I don't feel like mentioning them all. Moving on. Netflix is still producing and streaming its own anime. Shows like Blue-Eyed Samurai, Yasuke, Cyberpunk Edge Runners, and even a live-action Cowboy Bebop. But we ain't gonna talk about that one. I anticipate the anime will keep growing popular as the years go by, and will constantly be interwoven into various media. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe for more content. This concludes another episode of The Voice of Rhino.